Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great. Happy Sunday. Here with the fantasy football matchup previews and just giving you guys advice on who to start and who to sit and help you guys get some, have a winning roster on Sunday. So, yeah, we're going to hop into it. Go ahead and like and subscribe, guys. Support the channel. Check out all my links in the description below to get in on the action this Sunday. A lot of good action. You would definitely want to hop in it. So, yeah, we're going to hop into it. First matchup. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. We'll start on the Bills side. Josh Allen coming off a rough week against Steelers. I think it'll be much easier. Still going to be a tough Miami defense, but not as brutal as the Steelers. So I think Josh Allen has a nice bounce back game here. Love Stephon Diggs. I see Gabriel Davis is questionable. Be sure to check that out. I think Cole Beasley's a fine stream. Maybe as a flex option, wide receiver 3. He has a nice PPR floor. Not sure if I want to run Singletary. It's just there's really no upside with Singletary. You kind of hope he can get you 10 points. Maybe if you're desperate, you run Singletary. But I think you just roll out Josh Allen, Cole Beasley, and Stephon Diggs. Those would be the 3 I start. Maybe Emmanuel Sanders if you have him on your squad. I feel like there's going to be a better offensive performance for the Bills here. On the Dolphins side, I don't love this. The only person that I think is worth startable is Myles Gaskin. I don't absolutely love him in this matchup, but he's going to get used. Hopefully, he's probably not going to be able to run much on this Buffalo team. This Buffalo team shut Najee Harris down last week. But hopefully he can get 4, 5, 6 catches. That's kind of what you hope. Get some dump offs. Don't love Myles Gaskin, but that's the only person I'd want. He's probably your RB2, maybe a flex option this week. But I just don't trust any of the pass catchers or Tua for Miami. I think it's going to be a pretty defensive game here. But I'm staying away from pretty much everybody but Myles Gaskin. Next matchup, we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Chicago Bears. We'll start at the Bengals side. Normally, I'd be scared of the Bears here, but Bears defense isn't what it used to be. Did not look good last week. And Bengals looked really great last week. Joe Burrow having a heck of a game. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Boyd. I'm okay starting all 3 of those there. And Joe Mixon. 30-plus touches. He was just unstoppable. They're going to be able to throw and run all over this Bears defense here. So I'm okay starting pretty much everybody for the Bengals here. And then for the Bears, you're starting Allen Robinson and David Montgomery, maybe Cole Kmet, maybe more of a DFS, or maybe if you're desperate for a tight end. I don't hate Cole Kmet, but it's just the quarterback play is the only question here. Allen Robinson didn't have a great last week. David Montgomery had a really great game on the ground last week, was able to get that touchdown. I do like him. This Bengals defense, though, was absolutely on fire last week against the Vikings. Gave him a lot of pressure. I think they're going to give Andy Dalton tons of pressure here. So I'm only rolling out David Montgomery and Allen Robinson in that matchup. Next matchup, we have the Denver Broncos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. On the Denver side, I love Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's a great stream this week. Definitely one of the better, probably one of the top quarterback streams of the week here. Love the running backs. Love Melvin Gordon. I think he's going to have a big game. Javonte Williams. Maybe he can get more involved and have a nice game against this very bad Jags defense here. I like the pass catchers. I do think it's a big game for Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant. I think they step up with Jerry Jeudy's absence. So you're starting them. And I don't hate Tim Patrick. I think he's a good flex option. Maybe Hamler. I think one of them is going to have a really good game. They're both flex worthy. But that's pretty much, I'm starting all of Denver's offense here. On the Jags side, any James Robinson owners, you guys are probably scared. I know I would be. Didn't have a good week against the very bad Houston defense. Jacksonville's going to throw the ball. I think we know that now. They're going to be in a lot of negative game scripts. They're going to be throwing the ball a ton. I think all 3 of their pass catchers have tremendous value. I'm okay starting Marvin Jones, DJ Chark, and Laviska Shenault. I'm okay starting all 3 of those. They're just going to be passing a lot, especially against this Denver team. So that's probably the only plays I would make on the Jacksonville side. And if you have James Robinson, you're playing him. Hopefully he can do better, but he's going to be a much better defense in the Broncos than that was the Texans. All right, next matchup, we have the New England Patriots versus the New York Jets. On the Patriots side, I think Mac Jones is definitely startable here as a streamer option. Love Damian Harris. I think he's going to be able to run up all over this Jets defense. Should be able to get in the end zone and have a nice productive day. If you're desperate, James White could definitely have some value here as a pass catcher. As far as the receiving options go, I'm not excited about the receivers. You're probably starting Johnny Smith and Hunter Henry just because they are tight ends are pretty not that deep. So if you are starting them, go ahead. But just it's tough because they're double tight ends. But they did see plenty of work last week, so I expect that. As far as pass catchers go, maybe Nelson Aguilar I think is exciting. He has that big play potential. Other than that, that's probably it for me for the Patriots. On the Jets side, there's only one person you're starting for the Jets, and it's Corey Davis. He's the only one that has a role on this team. He's looked really great, had a really great last week, pretty dominant, and they fed him the ball a lot. You really can't start anybody else against this tough defense. So just going to roll with Corey Davis, maybe as a wide receiver 3 flex. Should be pretty solid. He's going to get a lot of targets there. Next matchup, we have the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. On the Saints side, I love Winston. Winston's going to be, I think he's a great streaming option. If he's not already available in your league, go ahead and pick him up. Coming off that 5 touchdown game, we'll see if he probably can't ever replicate that kind of game, but nonetheless, he did it. Going up against the Carolina defense that, not too bad. Definitely a better defense than the Packers were last week, but I like Jameis. You're starting Kamara, and that's probably it, honestly. I don't know, maybe Troutman if you're desperate at tight end, but I think it's just Kamara and Winston. And then on the Panther side, you're starting McCaffrey, no brainer. You're probably not playing Darnold, not against the Saints. That's going to be a tough matchup there. If you're desperate to stream a quarterback, I wouldn't go with Sam Darnold. But you're starting, Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore and McCaffrey. Those are the only 3 worth playing there. You're hoping Robbie can get more involved. Only had that 1 catch. It was for a touchdown, but you're hoping he gets more volume here. So, you're going to start those 3. The next matchup, you have the San Francisco 49ers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. On the 49ers side, if you're lucky enough to get Elijah Mitchell, you're starting him. Hopefully, you can have a nice day and score. And you're starting George Kittle. You're probably scared about starting Brandon Ayuk. If you have Brandon Ayuk, you probably have to sit him this week. We have no idea. Getting a 0 last week probably hurt your guys' lineups. Probably stay away from Brandon Ayuk, see what happens. But gonna roll with Kittle, and then after the week 1 performance, you're starting Debo. Debo had a monster week 1. He's clearly the guy in that offense. And I love those options there. On the Eagles side, you're probably starting Jalen Hurts just because it's going to be a tough defensive game for him, but he's going to be on his legs. He's going to get you that running upside, so I like Jalen Hurts. You're starting Miles Sanders as an RB2. Hopefully he can get more involved, maybe get in the end zone, have a nice day. Tight ends, you're starting Goddard. I think Goddard's a really good play. Zach Ertz is going to play. Been dealing with the hammy all week, so it's been tough for him. But he will be out there to steal some targets away from Goddard if you're the Goddard owner. And then Devontae Smith had a dominant week 1, a really great week 1. You're starting Devontae Smith. I think he's a really, really great wide receiver 3 flex this week. So, love him. And I pretty much love the main starters in this offense. They should be able to score some points because Detroit was able to put some numbers on the Niners here. All right, next matchup, we have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. On the Atlanta side, I think unless you're desperate, I don't know if you can trust Matt Ryan. It's going to be a tough game against this Tampa Bay defense. He had a great matchup last week and couldn't even get a touchdown. Horrible day. That offense looks bad. It's going to be another rough year for Atlanta. I hate to say it. Defense looked bad. Offense looked awful. You're starting Calvin Ridley, but he had a pretty poor performance last week, and Kyle Pitts. They had no offensive production. So if the team's not scoring, then the skill players aren't going to be getting much action. But you're rolling them out here. You're hoping maybe they can get a touchdown here. Maybe they can get more involved. Mike Davis, going to be tough against that Tampa Bay defense. That Tampa Bay defense shut down Zeke last week. You're hoping Mike Davis. You're starting. I think Mike Davis is a good flex play. Wide, maybe your RB3, RB2 if if that's on your roster. But you're hoping he gets at least 5-6 catches because they feel like they're going to have to throw a lot and they're not going to be able to run. So Mike Davis is a pretty good play. Hopefully he can get you 10. On the Bucs side, I think everybody's startable here. You're starting Tom Brady. Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. I stay away from them unless you're in unless you're desperate for running back. I don't hate it, but it's just a tough running back situation. You don't know who to count on every week. You're playing all the receivers. You hope Mike Evans has a better week. Mike Evans is just that player. He's going to have those down weeks where he's not involved, and then the next week he has a monster game. So you're starting him, AB, and Godwin, and then you're starting Gronk. After that monster week, I feel like you got to start Gronk. And we're rolling with all the options on Tampa Bay. For the Vikings, our next matchup, we have the Vikings and the Cardinals. We'll start on the Viking side. Kirk Cousins had a pretty good week last week. I feel like it's going to be another week where they're fighting to come back, and he's going to have to throw a lot. So I love him. You're starting Dalvin Cook. You're hoping he can get in the end zone and get some more catches and have a better game than he did last week. You're starting Justin Jefferson and Thielen. Thielen coming off a really great week. And that's pretty much it. Unless you're desperate. Tyler Conklin last week did okay. I mean, if you started him, he did what you probably expected him to do. He got you a couple catches. That's all you can ask for. So if you're desperate at tight end, I don't hate Conklin. And then on the Cardinal side, Kyler Murray coming off that monster week. Love Kyler Murray this week against this very bad Minnesota defense. Love Chase Edmonds. I think Chase Edmonds is the running back to play here, involved in the passing game. Connor, it's going to be tough unless you're really desperate at running back. Connor could get you some upside, but I think Chase Edmonds is the running back to own here. You're starting D-Hop. I think Christian Kirk has a good game if you got him off the waiver wire. Coming off a 2-touchdown game, hasn't been very reliable, but it's a new season. Maybe he ends up being that number 2 they needed. So I think Christian Kirk's a start here, and that's pretty much it for me. And I like the Arizona defense. I mean, Chandler Jones with a 5-sack game. I think they're going to get a lot of sacks on Kirk. That Bengals defense was able to be all over Kirk Cousins last week, so I love the Cardinals options all over the board here. Then the next matchup, we have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Los Angeles Chargers. A lot of options here to play. On the Cowboys side, you're starting Dak Prescott after that Week 1 game. Dak looks great, and he's back. You're starting Zeke. Last week stunk if you're a Zeke owner, but hopefully he has a better game here against a better. Chargers still have a really great defense, but I think he'll definitely have more room to run in this matchup here against the Chargers. So love Zeke. And you're playing all the pass catching options here. You're starting Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and the tight ends. Unless you're desperate, I don't know if I want to play Schultz or Jarwin. It's a tough because you might be disappointed. But playing all the main options for the Cowboys, they should all have big games here. And then on the Chargers side, you're hoping Justin Herbert has a better game here. I think he will against this bad Cowboys defense. I love Herbert. Hopefully Eckler gets more involved. He got that touchdown last week, so he didn't have a horrible week, but you're hoping he gets more involved in the passing game. Didn't have any catches, so let's hope he can get some more action here. Love Keenan Allen. You're starting Keenan. Great Week 1. Mike Williams had a really great Week 1 as well. Let's hope Mike Williams can keep it up. I think he's a great wide receiver 2/flex option. And then Jared Cook. Jared Cook quietly had a solid game. Got a lot of targets. Got some catches. Pretty solid if you need a tight end. I think Jared Cook's a really good play as well. All right, next matchup, we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Seattle Seahawks. Tennessee had a rough last week. I mean, you got to expect better production this week for this Tennessee team. Tannehill, you're starting Tannehill. This should be a fun matchup here. Derrick Henry, better days are ahead for Derrick Henry. That was just a tough week. Their whole offense got murdered. So love Derrick Henry. Love A.J. Brown. I think Julio's a good play this week as well. He definitely hurt last week. I think the whole offense is going to get an upgrade here. So you're starting all those. Expect good things from this Titans offense, at least better than last week. And then Seattle, You're starting Russ. Russ had a great week. Chris Carson looked really good on the ground last week. Love him as an RB2. Tyler Lockett, Metcalf, both had great games. And if if you need a tight end, Gerald Everett, only had 2 catches, but he had that touchdown. He's involved in the offense. So definitely out there. So I do like Gerald Everett as a tight end option. And then the next matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. On the Chiefs side, it's pretty easy. I mean, you guys are starting Pat Mahomes. Should have the Raiders were able to score on this Ravens team. The Ravens defense isn't what it usually is here. A lot of injuries. Love Pat Mahomes. If you're starting Clyde as an RB2/flex play, you just hope he can get more involved, get in the end zone, because he just kind of has a baseline. He's going to get you. He's not going to hurt you, but he's just going to get you. He's going to get you 10 points. I mean, hopefully Clyde can do better. But you love Tyreek. You love Travis Kelce. I think that's all you can start until it's hard to trust Mecole Hardman or Demarcus Robinson if they can step up. Really hard to trust them. Just stick with the main guys for Kansas City. And then for the Ravens, you're starting Lamar Jackson. He's going to have a big game for them to really be in it. Receiving wise, I do like Marquise Brown. I feel like they're going to have to throw it. Love Marquise Brown. Both running backs, I think, are in play for the Ravens here with Murray and then Travion. I think Travion's probably the back to start. I think he's going to be more involved here. Hopefully he can get some catches. And then Mark Andrews, hopefully Mark Andrews has a better game here. I think they're going to have to. It's going to be a shootout. So I definitely want to be a part of a lot of these people on both sides. Then the next matchup, we have the Houston Texans versus the Cleveland Browns. On the Houston side, I think it's going to be a brutal week for Houston here. They play that Jags team really good and beat them well like they deserve to. But they're playing a really tough Cleveland Browns defense that it's going to be tough for Tyrod and all these options. I just don't, unless you're in a 20-team league, very deep league, I don't see how you could really play anybody on the Texans here. I mean, I could totally see you starting Mark Ingram, which had a great week last week, get you nothing because it's going to be hard for them to run on this Cleveland defense. I think Cleveland's going to put it to them. I just don't trust anyone from the Texans unless you're super desperate. Mark Ingram, the touches were there, but all 3 running backs got work, and they all were pretty productive. That's very hard to sustain for fantasy. So I just don't like anyone from the Texans here. Cleveland side, you can start all the Texans key guys. I like Baker Mayfield to have a good game. I love Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. They should both have good games as well. And Jarvis Landry, those main 4. I think other than that, don't be doing anything crazy. Start those main 4. And they should have a nice game against this bad Houston defense. Then the next matchup, we have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. On the Raiders side, it's going to be a tough week. After getting that nice win over the Ravens, they're playing a much better defense than the Steelers that pretty much held Josh Allen in check and that offense. I think you can only start Darren Waller here. No Josh Jacobs. Derek Carr's going to have a rough game. Darren Waller's the only tight end this could be a game where he just doesn't have a good game at all, but Darren Waller's going to get force-fed targets, so he's going to get production. Don't know how good it's going to be, but I think Darren Waller is the only person you can play on this Raiders roster here. Then the Steelers, I think it's going to be a big day for the Steelers offense here. Love Big Ben, love the pass catchers. I think Najee Harris has a good week too here, gets more involved, and hopefully can get in the end zone. Wasn't able to against that tough Buffalo defense. So you could feel good starting all of the Steelers options this week. And then maybe tight ends, and if you're desperate, Eric Ebron gets a lucky red zone touchdown, and Pat Freiermuth has potential to have a decent game as well. Then the last matchup, we had the Los Angeles Rams versus the Indianapolis Colts. Love all the Rams options this week. Matthew Stafford looked really good last week. Felt really comfortable too. Darrell Henderson did pretty decent. Did kind of what you expected him to do. I think it's going to be tough for him to do that against this Colts defense. That's really good Colts defense. But love Cooper Kupp. You hope Robert Woods has a better game. He didn't have that good of a game last week, but better days are ahead for Robert Woods. I think you could feel good starting him. And then Tyler Higbee. Love Tyler Higbee as a tight end option. Got really slept on tight ends this season. I think he's going to end up being a top 5 tight end. I really do. He's just been really great really involved in week 1. Did really good for your team. So I love Tyler Higbee here. And maybe take a shot on Van Jefferson or Deshaun if you're in a deep league. But that's probably about as far as it goes for the Rams offense. On the Colts side, I think you can only play Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines as a flex. Hope they get involved more in the passing game. They had really good weeks last week, but that was mainly because of the pass work they both got. I just don't feel comfortable starting anybody else on this team against this tough Rams defense. They're going to have to throw a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of dump-offs to the running backs, so I think the running backs have a lot of good value. And yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck with your picks and all your fantasy lineups on Sunday. Hope you guys all win your leagues, win your matchups, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good one.